On here from Rachel. She just hardly said anything. Obviously, Rachel, I think I want to talk about context. And your film is an adult drama. It's done $1.6 million or thereabouts on 25 sites. That's a really great result. From a distribution point of view, that's a really great result. Have you been made to feel that it's not a good result?
No, not really, actually. It's sort of, I mean, I look at the figures myself and I go, yeah, gee, it's not, it's looking pretty good up there, but it's really only made about a fifth of its budget back. It's like I said in my article, they are fragile beings, these films, and it depends on a huge amount of little things that keep something in there that don't turn. I mean, already we can see that the public is not well disposed to going to Australian films if they are told yet again that they are bleak and grim, which are words that I just find people need to be very careful how they use. I mean, I did do some homework on how much effect the article that was in Heckler and the article that you wrote in the Spectrum, how much effect that actually had on Beautiful Kate. And, I don't know whether you can put it down to this, but in Sydney, where both of those articles ran, both of them basically insinuated that it was grim and bleak and that the Australian films were grim and bleak. And in Sydney, we had, after the Heckler one ran, which also went into great detail about the plot and used ad nauseum the word incest and suicide, of which there was, films like Voltaire has since incest as a central theme. There was a drop on the second week after both of those articles ran in Sydney of 33%. It dropped from Sydney dropped 26%, and Melbourne only dropped 14%. So, I did write this out because I felt instinctively that this was going to have an impact on my film. And I just feel that if we want to have independent films, if we want to have these films out there, and the paradigm is changing, we've really all got to work together in certain ways. And I just think it's just not going to help. It's certainly not going to help selling overseas, if we are so unembracive of our own stuff here. And I completely understand that one has to lighten up. I get it. But I also think, it's incumbent upon some of those writers, just to lighten up on some of these words you use, because it just isn't helping.
One of the problems we have, just go back to scripts in Australia, is that the writing's fine. It's just that the ideas underpinning the writing just aren't very commercial. And I think that's got a lot to do with this whole idea of draft funding. So you write a draft of a script and then you get the next draft funded and you get the next draft funded. And most of the time when we get a script, there shouldn't have been any drafts written on it. It should have just been a paragraph which someone has said, well, no one wants to see that. And what it really should be is, it should be really an industry built on ideas, and every writer should have 20 ideas, not just one that they peddle around for 5 years. I actually have ideas, and if one isn't right, then you move on to something else. And you would save a lot of time not writing up scripts that no one wants to see. And I think, we as a distributor, as a producer, we have to do that. We have to look at a treatment or a synopsis and decide whether people want to see it, regardless of who's in it or what it's about, and I don't think we do that enough here. We have very well written scripts about stuff that no one wants to see.
You wouldn't want Tennessee Williams to be an Australian trying to, have a hit in Australia when he's got a clapped out drunk who's raped by her brother-in-law, who ends up being dragged off to the insane asylum. I mean...
That sounds like a good movie.
Except that Tennessee Williams wrote melodrama, not realism. And melodrama sells. Melodrama works.
But we're all doing melodrama with realism. I mean, Beautiful Kate was melodrama with realism.
Yes, and it's doing well.